I'm Paul Leonard, the CEO of PLT Nutrition and Libratus. I understand you wanted some information about GLP medications and how they fit into what we do. I want to start by saying that these medications are not for everyone. They're not magic and they're not a replacement for coaching. They're a tool. When used appropriately in the right person with proper structure around them, they can be very, very effective. When used without structure and oversight, people can fall into bad habits, undereat, lose too much muscle and possibly have other health conditions down the road. The reason I created Libratus PLT was simple. Over the past few years, medical weight loss has become far more common. But in many cases, the medication is being prescribed without any real nutritional framework, without strength training, without long-term thinking. That is not how we operate. Libratus exists as a structured pathway for PLT clients who may benefit from medical weight loss support, but still want coaching as the foundation. The medication supports the plan. It does not replace it. So we offer our medication at cost price, and this is unique. We do not mark it up or look to make any profit from it. We do this simply because we are focused on the coaching side, and we believe this is a critical component that many miss out on. Now, in terms of the medications themselves, the two most common we use are semaglutide and tirzepatide. Semaglutide has been around a lot longer. As a class of medications, GLP-1 drugs have close to 20 years of data behind them in the diabetes world, and that matters. We do have long-term safety data, despite what some people may say. We understand the mechanisms, we know how people respond to them. Semaglutide works by mimicking a hormone called GLP-1, which increases satiety, it slows down gastric emptying and helps regulate appetite and blood sugar. In simple terms, most people feel fuller sooner, they stay fuller longer and find it easier to maintain a calorie deficit without feeling constantly hungry. Tirzepatide is a newer version. It acts on both the GLP-1 hormone as well as a hormone called GIP. Clinically, it tends to produce slightly greater average weight loss and for many people, fewer side effects. And I think that's key. It is still a relatively new compound compared to semaglutide, but the data so far is very, very strong. In terms of results, both can be effective. Tirzepatide shows a bit more weight loss potential on paper, but individual response matters more than averages. Some people do exceptionally well on semaglutide, and some people do exceptionally well on tirzepatide. There have been other medications that change appetite through the years, but these are unique in that they cross the blood-brain barrier and change your dopamine reward signals, so the user is less interested in food. And this is why tirzepatide has been shown to help alcoholics and addicts. It changes the craving signals in our brain, and this is the largest, most significant benefit of a GLP-1 medication. Now let's talk about side effects, because that is usually where the hesitation comes in. Yes, side effects absolutely exist. The most common is nausea, and that is often dose dependent and typically goes away. It can be worse if somebody escalates their dose too quickly. When dosing is handled conservatively, most people tolerate them very well. You should take the dose that is appropriate to your side effects. So you start with a dose, and when that's well tolerated, you increase it. Constipation is also common as well. Often that is simply because food intake drops significantly and fibre and fluid intake are not adjusted properly. People without guidance can fall into this trap, unfortunately. Doctors only give very limited advice, but with proper guidance around hydration, around protein, fibre and movement, this is usually very manageable. More serious side effects are pretty rare. It is important to remember that there are now over 10 million users of GLP-based medications globally. If these drugs were broadly unsafe, we would be seeing a very different public health picture. That does not mean that there are zero risks. It means the risk profile, when prescribed appropriately, is generally very acceptable. One thing I always want to emphasise is this: the medication reduces appetite. It does not automatically improve your food quality. It does not automatically preserve muscle. It does not automatically fix your dietary habits. If someone eats very little protein, avoids resistance training, and simply eats less of the same low quality diet, they will of course lose weight. But they may lose more muscle and lean body mass than is ideal. Without lifestyle changes, the chances of regain are the same as with any weight loss approach. They're pretty high. It comes down to lifestyle changes. And inside Libratus, or PLT, we work to avoid that. We set your protein targets. Strength training becomes a non-negotiable for us. Calories are structured, adjustments are monitored, and micronutrients are also monitored, which is critical. The goal is not just weight loss, it is body composition improvement and long-term sustainability. Once someone has lost the weight, then the process is to titrate back down and bring food take up, and to manage this closely. This is almost a more critical time to be consistent and to have good quality data. There is absolutely no shame if as a person titrates down and ends up on a low microdose long term, just to make their life more manageable for them. Because GLPs do come with great internal health benefits beyond just the reduced eating. I truly believe they will be a first line of health defence in the coming years, and that's where microdosing has become more popular. So let's talk about microdosing. Microdosing is essentially using a lower than standard dose, often for individuals who don't have a high BMI, but do struggle with appetite control, some post-diet rebounds, or some persistent hunger. The goal is not weight loss as such, it's more subtle appetite regulation, improved relationship with food, lower blood pressure, etc. Microdosing just makes adhering to a structured plan that bit better, that bit easier. But it's not appropriate for everyone. It still requires medical screening, but for some people, especially those who are already training and eating well, but fighting appetite constantly, it can be a very helpful support tool. So to summarise, GLP-1 medications are not shortcuts, they are not for everyone. They're not a replacement for coaching. But for the right individual with proper structure, they can make adherence far easier and results much more predictable. Hopefully that has given you some things to consider. We also have a document that you can read should you wish to. From here, you can request details around costs, payments, and getting started, or you can speak to one of us on a call, on a live call also, whatever is best for you. So whatever path you choose, at Libratus PLT, we are focused on coaching first and adding the medication as a tool to get you the results and health improvements you've always craved.